going to share with you some of the tips that I have for writing a dissertation. And my number one tip is something that I've personally struggled with, and that is knowing when to stop researching and reading and actually starting to write your dissertation, because that's important. For some reason, I always felt like I needed to read this one more article, this one more book, and that somehow they could be useful and that I could miss something very important for my dissertation. But in reality, there is a deadline for your dissertation. The clock is ticking and you need to stop at some point. You need to stop reading and you need to start writing, or at least making a plan of your dissertation, just outlining the chapters and what you're going to include in them. But how do you know when to stop? How do you know if you've done the appropriate amount of reading? I would say that the best thing that you can do is just to contact your supervisor and ask them. And that's my number 2. That's my second tip for you. Just stay in touch with your supervisor. Ask all the questions that you want to ask. They are there for you. Their job is to answer your questions. So don't be shy. Come to the meetings and ask all the questions that you have for them. And I'm sure they'll be able to help you somehow. Then my tip number 3 is to really narrow down your topic to something quite specific, even if it seems oddly specific. Like in my case, you might have been wondering, why have I decided to focus on just representations of women rather than focusing on the whole phenomenon more broadly? And that is because even though 8,000 words seems like a lot, in reality, when you've got all these different things that you need to include in your dissertation, such as a literature review, which is a chapter in which you talk about what has been previously written about your topic within the academia, your methods chapter and all that, then you found yourself in a situation in which 8,000 words is not actually that many. So just narrow it down. And my final tip for you would be something that's actually, again, quite specific to me. So because I am an Eastern European woman, it's kind of as if I was writing a dissertation about myself. And that could be a good thing and a bad thing, because on the one hand, I know what I'm talking about. I'm kind of the expert here. I'm quite familiar with all these different nuances and issues that I want to write about. But then on the other hand, my personal experiences and biases might not be very objective and might influence my writing, and that doesn't have to be a good thing necessarily. So I constantly need to check in within myself whether that is my, analytical thinking coming through in my writing, or whether that's my personal biases. So you just need to think about the pros and cons, because writing about something that is close to your heart can be a very valuable thing, but there comes some dangers with it as well. So just weigh in what you'd like to do and see what works better.